And, I have my own perspective from having flown the earlier version of the 737.
In what feels like a lifetime ago now, back in November of 2019, Federal Aviation Administration Chief Steve Dickson famously said, "I'm not going to sign off on this aircraft until I fly it myself, and I'm satisfied that I would put my own family on it without a second thought."
My message is the airplane's not going to fly until I'm completely satisfied that it is completely safe, and that I would put my own family on it. That's my commitment.
Well, get out your goosebumps, because that time is now. That's next on Maximus. Steve Dickson is making good on his promise. The FAA chief is finalizing plans to personally test fly the Boeing 737 MAX.
As I've said many times, I will not sign off on this aircraft until all FAA technical reviews are complete. I also intend to pilot the aircraft myself before the FAA makes any ungrounding decision.
While not a necessary step in getting the MAX back into the air, it is seen as a major symbolic step before the agency clears the plane to fly passengers again. Before the flight, Dixon, along with his deputy Daniel Elwell, will complete a training course that Boeing and regulators have proposed for all MAX pilots. Then on September 30th, FAA Chief Dickson will personally fly the MAX to evaluate Boeing's fixes firsthand. While this may only be a symbolic gesture, this won't be just a media photo op. Steve Dickson has mad skills when it comes to flying. Before becoming the FAA chief, Dixon was Senior Vice President of Flight Operations for Delta Airlines. In that position, he was responsible for the safety and operational performance of Delta's global flight operations, as well as pilot training, crew resources, crew scheduling, and regulatory compliance. He also flew inline operations as a 320 captain, and previously flew the 727, 737, 757, and 767 during his career. Dixon is also a former United States Air Force officer and F-15 fighter pilot. Dixon is a distinguished graduate of the class of 1979 at the United States Air Force Academy, as well as a graduate of the Georgia State University College of Law magna cum laude. Like I said, dude has mad creds. Hey, I have a question. Look at your computer screen or phone for a minute. Is your subscriber button red right now? Well, it shouldn't be. Do me a favor and just click on it so that red light goes off. See, that wasn't so hard. You just subscribed. Thank you very much. In 2019, Dixon previously stated before Congress that the FAA would not lift its order grounding the plane until he flew the plane personally. The plane, of course, has been grounded worldwide since March of 2019, where the MCAS system was quickly found to be a primary culprit behind the crashes. MCAS was designed to compensate for the plane having larger engines than previous 737 generations. The larger engines could cause the plane's nose to lift upward, potentially leading to a stall. MCAS could automatically point the nose down to neutralize the problem. However, the initial angle of attack system design was flawed from the beginning due to the fact that the MCAS system was activated by a faulty reading from a single angle of attack sensor without any redundancies or backups. In both incidents, the sensors are thought to have failed, sending erroneous data to the flight computer and without a redundant check in place, triggering the automated recovery system. Boeing had always just assumed that a previously trained 737NG pilot could simply adjust for the MCAS system without additional training. So Boeing now famously removed any and all mentions of the MCAS system from all pilot training material, as well as refusing to build new simulators to help pilots deal with this new and unknown flight control system. Boeing's bosses, along with Chief Test Pilot Mark Faulkner, also vetoed adding a fail-safe synthetic airspeed system, which might have alerted pilots to the original sensor issue. In their report, the U.S. House Committee determined that the disasters were caused by Boeing's continued insistence on cost-cutting, keeping the expedited program schedule and avoiding slowing of the production line. They also slammed the FAA for approving Boeing's unproven design systems, writing excessive FAA delegation of certification functions to Boeing on the 737 MAX eroded the FAA's oversight effectiveness and the safety of the public. The committee added that it had discovered sweeping and systemic problems revolving around the ability of the FAA to effectively engage in regulatory activity, such as delegating responsibilities to industry officials with inherent conflicts of interest. Gizmodo's Tom McKay put it this way. In other words, the FAA and Boeing's relationship was a textbook example of regulatory capture in which a revolving door between industry and regulators ensures little regulating is actually done. Although the grounding was initially expected to last just a few weeks, Boeing and the FAA found additional safety hazards, eventually requiring Boeing to redesign the jet's entire flight computer rather than just the MCAS software. Additionally, once they opened up the MAX to repair the flight control computers, they opened up a virtual Pandora's box of unexpected problems. First, they had to replace wiring harnesses on all MAX jets that could have potentially caused an electrical short that would have also resulted in a similar demise as the MCAS system. Then there was the problem of foreign objects left in finished planes that needed to be removed. There was a problem with contaminated fuel tanks and even problems with the aircraft's lightning protection system that had to be repaired, just to name a few. Boeing previously said it expected the jet to return to service in the second half of this year. Although airlines have eagerly awaited the jet's return, the collapse of travel demand due to the pandemic has basically eliminated the need for added public capacity. The test flight will take place at Boeing's campus in Seattle, Washington. Dixon's flight is seen as one of the final steps before the plane officially gets the grounding order lifted by the end of October. Well, one thing is sure, when all is said and done, this plane will have undergone the most public and invasive rectal exam in modern history, and it should be the safest plane in the sky going forward. However, as most of you point out to me so often, what good is a safe plane if nobody wants to fly it? Well, that's all I have. Now it's your turn to let me know down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell. And as always, remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.